Now with Draco coming out, there are 80 brawlers in Brawl Stars, and I'm going to start with the complete history of every single rare. Starting with Shelly, yeah, she's a rare for today, quit typing that comment. This was the start. Shelly, as you can imagine, was like the main character in the game. For the entirety of the game's lifespan, Shelly would be the first brawler all players would get a chance to use, remaining as the tutorial brawler for Brawl Stars, as well as the only character you could play until you unlock someone else, even though that would happen like 5 seconds later. 4 months after her release, Shelly finally got the Shell Shock star power, and then it already got nerfed a few weeks later. In December 2018, the iconic Star Shelly became released and available to all in celebration of the first players to touch Brawl Stars after its global release. Then they just undid Shelly's star power nerf. 2 weeks later, Shelly got her second star power, and just like the first, this star power also got a nerf right after its release. But look at this, what were they thinking? It then got another nerf, and then in 2020, Shelly got her first gadget. At the same time, a special PSG skin for her became available for all players who won some 9-win challenge that, oh, I won. True Silver and Gold skins then joined Shelly, and a bit later, she got her second gadget, and then she had an era with 9 months of buffs. Then, Princess Shelly showed up as the tier 1 skin for season 8, and Shelly's class got changed to damage dealer at the end of 2021, and then she was just untouched for an entire year until she had her classic skin released at the end of 2022. Then, in April of 23, she got her most infamous buff ever, the movement speed. She became a fast brawler who was honestly super cracked, and it took 4 whole months before she finally lost this crazy speed. She then entered a hypercharge era in the first wave of hypercharges, and then her supercharge was nerfed enough so that she could no longer spam hyper supers. Then, if it matters, her flavor text got reworked to this, and eventually she got 4 more skins as all the brawlers hypercharges got fully reworked. She finally remained in peaceful silence until April of 2024 when her mutation made its first appearance nearly 7 years after she first saw Brawl Stars. Nita was also in Brawl Stars since day 1, and at the start she received a balance change that removed health decay from her bear. In the Star Powers update, not only did she receive Bear With Me, but she was also given voice lines. Nita then spent the next 2 years getting nothing but buffs. Hyper Bear and a few skins were also added. In 2020, Koala Nita was added with respect to Australia, who was dealing with a lot of wildfires at the time. Then, Nita got Bear Paws, and well, it got a weird nerf that gave it 2 uses per match. They eventually undid that and gave the gadget a bit of a stomp delay, and in the meantime, Nita just got more buffs. At the end of 2020, Nita got her second gadget and even more buffs before kicking off 2021 with True Silver and Gold skins, as well as Whale Watch Nita. Nita was also changed to Damage Dealer, and then in Season 10, Neon Nita was added as a Power League skin. Nita gets more buffs, and then in the credits update, Nita's rarity went from Trophy Road to Rare. Then, in Season 16, Gummy Bear Nita was featured as a pretty cool tier 1 skin that had 3 different styles. Nita also received a little flavor text update before getting Tusk Nita, her very own legendary skin. And then, Nita got another buff since she clearly needed one. And finally, she received a hypercharge, a mutation, and a ranked exclusive skin now in 2024. Colt was also, these are rares, they all came out on release. Colt's first 4 updates were all buffs, and then he got slick boots and 5 nerfs. Then he got more buffs, more nerfs, and then we're already at the era of second star powers. Nothing significant happened until 2020 when gadgets came about, and then he later got Challenger Colt and another gadget. In 2021, Colt got Gunslinger Colt in Season 6, Gold and Silver skins a little bit later, and then his very handsome skin. He had this change in 2022, he got Sharktooth Colt for Season 13, and then became a rare brawler instead of a Trophy Road brawler. Later on, he got Bananas Colt, a hypercharge, and another flavor text change since they just didn't know how to describe him. Dark Angel Colt won Supercell Make, and he came out as a free skin for all, and then the hypercharge rework hit Colt like a truck, but then he got a lovely set of mecha skins. His journey reached the present time when his mutation came about in the end of April. Bull was one of the OG tanks in Brawl Stars. Nothing really happened to him before his star power was introduced, and shortly after he got 5 buffs and then 5 nerfs. His next order of business was to get 2 American football skins and his second star power, and then then he got one balance change all year, and then he remained in peace until gadgets came about. A bit later, Barbarian King Bull was made a free skin to celebrate Supercell's 10th anniversary, and then Bull got more buffs, as well as silver and gold skins. Then he got a second gadget. Bull eventually got his Space Ox skin and a game-changing trait that allowed him to charge his super while receiving damage. Bull became titled a tank instead of heavyweight, and then in Season 9 he got the B800 skin Bull as a tier 1 skin. He also got Lion Bull that no one ever used, and eventually he also became a rare brawler since the trophy road ceased to exist at the end of 2022. Alley Cat Bull then joined Brawl Stars, and many months later, Bull was seen in some crazy trailer for some upcoming feature that was later revealed to be hypercharges. Bull received his hypercharge, had this as his new flavor text, and then when we reached the current time, all that really happened to him was the hypercharge nerf. Brock was an absolute unit when it came to dealing damage. Well, it did take a few early days buffs to set him up for the game, but that's not that bad, right? He started off as a common, and then he became a rare in 2017. He started off with Incendiary when Star Powers came out, which meant that he could still not use 4 rockets for quite a while, despite literally holding a Grim Reaper rocket launcher. Anyways, they toyed around with him with more balance changes, and then sent Brock back to being a common brawler, and then they kind of forgot about him until they added Boombox Brock the next year. Brock then got some more skins, and finally a 4th rocket, and then a lot of buffs to his Incendiary star power. Then, nothing else really happened to Brock until he got his first gadget, and then he got Super Ranger Brock in Season 2, before receiving a second gadget and 4 hard nerfs to his various abilities. During Brawl Days that year, Brock received his classic skin as a free gift to all, and then began to get some major attack buffs. Then, Brock was occasionally balanced throughout 2021, he received silver and gold skins, and became a damage dealer instead of a sharpshooter. The following year, Brock had his star powers reworked, so now his attacks always set everything on fire, and also had that other Rainmaker star power make its first appearance. Brock had this changed for his flavor text. Postal Brock became the Season 13 Power League skin, and then he got a Zombrock skin before returning to the rare rarity, where he'll hopefully just stay. Then, Brock became a marksman instead of a damage dealer, and he got the Zeus Brock skin. After that, nothing really happened to Brock until he got his modern flavor text, and at the end, all sorts of new skins, a hypercharge, and finally, a mutation. Believe it or not, El Primo actually started off with a cone attack instead of a rectangle one. El Primo also started off as a rare and was later switched to a common around the time that his first star power came out. In the next few months, Primo had some balance changes, some more balance changes, and then went back to being a rare. After a few more balance changes, he had a very odd flavor text change in 2019, and then nothing really happened until he got his second star power. After that, he got more balance changes, the L Brown skin, and his first gadget. Primo then had silver and gold skins, his other gadget, and quite a few buffs. Primo then got his supercharged trait for receiving damage, but after just one day, it took a really heavy nerf. Primo then reached his prime in Showdown teaming, enough so that Supercell had to intensely decrease the speed at which he charged his super. He got 2 dragon skins, and he was named a tank instead of a heavyweight, even though they're like the same thing. Some of the damage from his previous nerf was undone, and then he got his Simp Primo skin for Brawlentines a bit later. We then fast forward all the way to Season 17, where Elmer Dalma got to be the final tier 1 skin for the Brawl Pass. Primo then did essentially nothing until the Hypercharge update when he had this flavor text change, and then in 2024, El Primo got 2 skins, a hypercharge, a few buffs, and finally, a limited time mutation. Barley's first order of business was to get 3 buffs. He then was switched to be a rare because, I mean, even 2017 Barley wasn't unique enough to be a super rare. A bit later, Barley received his very own star power and voice lines. In 2018, Barley had nothing but balance changes, and in 2019, Barley had more balance changes before receiving 2 skins and a second star power. Then, Barley got another skin as well as his first gadget. Then, Barley got silver and gold skins as well as a few more buffs, and a bit later, a pretty cool unicorn skin. Barley then became a damage dealer instead of a thrower, and even another skin. He then had a slight flavor text switch, only for it to be tweaked again a bit later, and then he became an artillery brawler instead of a damage dealer. Barley then got his current flavor text and finally 4 buffs, but now in the present time, you'll notice that he's the first one on this list to not have a hypercharge or mutation. Please change that. In the first few days of his existence, Poco's super could not go through walls. Luckily, that was fixed immediately after the game came about, and then Poco received simple balance changes until becoming a super rare in September of 2017. Poco got his first star power, and it was literally called Swan Song, and it was so weird that it took like 10 days to get removed and reworked into the star power that we still have today. Poco then got a year's worth of buffs, and then a remodel in 2019, as well as Simp Poco for the 2019 Brawlentine. Poco became a bit better described with some new flavor text 2 months later, and then he finally got his second star power. It was nerfed very shortly after its release, and then nerfed again a bit later, all while his other star power got 2 buffs. Then Poco got a pirate skin, became changed to a support brawler, and finally got his tuning fork gadget. And honestly, nothing really happened to him until he got his second gadget a whole year later. Poco received in and out balance changes, and then Trash Poco during the Bad Randoms era, when Poco made an appearance on Spotify and all the other music platforms. Then Poco got 2 buffs, gold and silver skins, and Desperado Poco in Season 14. Poco then had 2 nerfs, and he was left untouched until the Hypercharge update when his flavor text got changed to something a bit more... that. But then he got his CCTV Poco skin, which was super terrifying due to its connections with Star Park, until he finally got 2 more buffs and finished off his journey with the introduction of a mutation. Rosa was the first brawler on this list to actually be released to the game instead of with the game. However, she was released so broken that essentially you couldn't even compete against her. And so, in the first 2 months of her existence, she was hammered down with 7 nerfs, but then in turn she was rewarded with voice lines being added, as well as a second star power. Then, almost as if the nerfs were overkill, Rosa received 3 buffs before getting a gadget, only to get another buff and then a Brawloween Rosa skin. Then, Rosa got her second gadget, this hilarious bug fix, whatever that means, and Coco Rosa. Rosa's class was changed to Tank, she got her silver and gold models, and then in Season 10, she got Major Rosa as the season exclusive skin. During the Biodome then, she got Mantis Rosa, which had a really cool super animation, and then she was just left untouched for over a year until she got the supercharged trait for receiving damage. Then, during the Hypercharge update, Rosa was one of the first picks for one of these abilities, and she also now has this flavored text to describe her, but then she went back to her roots, get it, by receiving quite a few nasty nerfs. And then, a quick 5 years after she had her first brawl, she received a temporary mutation that would catch us up to the latest version. That's everything, thank you members.